Hi, my name is Ataraxia, and I'm thinking about starting this YouTube channel because I have some ideas that I would like to share. And when I was younger, I thought maybe I would publish a book or something, but now that I look back at my writings, I don't think they deserve to be compiled in a book. Maybe not yet. I have to improve myself until that can happen. And that's gonna take a while. So, in the meantime, I would like to upload here my thoughts. So, hello, non citizens. Today's theme will be Nietzsche. Nietzsche. Well, he's all the stuff like everyone likes to talk about him. So, around 3 years ago, I've read a couple of his works and wrote down my thoughts about him. Well, I mean, it's quite an emotional rant, maybe you could consider. But, yeah, I thought it would be a nice place to start because this is something I wrote in English, and I usually don't write in English, so the quickest thing I can do without any like translation work and stuff. So I know it's not the best quality, and after 3 years, some of my thoughts about him have actually changed, and I realized that I'm not knowledgeable enough about him, and I've read more of his works. So, yes, I would like to talk about my thoughts of Nietzsche from 3 years ago. Nietzsche. Why and how has he become such a household name? Exactly what is it that's so extraordinary about him? His will to power? His reputation of Christianity? His thoughts on education? Nay. I think the reason why he's so praised, so adored, so respected is very simple. His elitism, his justification of egotism, and his misogyny. I will strive to never become like the rest of humanity who adore you in vain. You offer justifications to unjustifiable ways of thinking, and do it in an artistic, pretentious way, with aphorisms, invented words, long and difficult sentences, which sound nice to the reader. You dress it up, you adorn it, as you accuse women of adorning and dressing up themselves, like the shallow beings that they are. As you accuse and belittle women, you can't even see that your opinion of them is in fact your opinion of yourself, or in fact your only way of elevating yourself to a higher rank, by kicking the already fallen one. There's only so much sarcasm, elitist hubris, and woman-hating I can take. I'm done reading your bogus, Nietzsche. You're insufferable. I've read 6 entire works of yours, and you have said exactly nothing. Page after page of assertions of how X is dumb and Y is dangerous, and so on. But no explanation whatsoever of how you came to this conclusion. No clear argument or justification. No, you pride yourself and your readers with being the reasonable man. All I see from you is your grandiose attitude and endless ramble about your pre-convictions. Your outlook onto life is pathetic, and so are you, and all of your pretentious readers, who assume themselves of high culture. No, Richard Wagner isn't all that. Schopenhauer isn't all that, I assure you, and so aren't you. Seriously, how is it that you came to so many conclusions just from your tiny little outlook, and accept them as the absolute truth? You don't understand your place in temporality, do you? And quite frankly, things would be very different for humanity, escaping from your influence, if only you had a smart mistress of a kind who would keep you as if to keep a pet. I I feel it in you that you would be happy that way. You're so blinded, and your nose is so high up, and you think you understand everything there is that can be deduced, that you believe, if one does not agree with your assertions, that they are naturally part of the plebs or the herd. I'm curious, why would anyone in their right mind ever take you seriously, let alone name you the greatest philosopher? If this is what humanity's best has to offer, then maybe we should reconsider who is the lesser one and build society anew as to create new minds that are this time not any less free than those genuine plebs. If you understand what I mean. You're content to merely state your ideas as if they were accepted fact. You're an imbecile. And ones who revere you are the very herd you despise so much. It is all so comical. You're the worst kind of cuck, the persuasive kind, the kind who, because of his cuckold nature, has misguided ideas about what a real man is. Your love and worship of power is because you lack it yourself. You're a frail masturbator, an intellectual masturbator. You're so drawn to this image, which is imaginary and cringeworthy. Your masturbatory master complex, too, is a cringeworthy reflection of what men throughout the ages have been and will be, imagining themselves as the most sophisticated being to walk the earth, a humble demigod, if you will. You're in fact a parasite. The only reason you're able to ramble about have these circle jerks and egotistical master complexes to spread to the world, and this grandiose but false ideas, and the ability to actually write them down, is because you probably parasite off of a woman. You have someone cleaning up for you, cooking for you, and doing even more favors, and they sacrifice their selfhood and time and freedom, believing this is the best for them and for society, because imbecile and authoritative men like yourself have succeeded in convincing them to such. Any time she tries to stand up for herself, you have ridiculed her, put her back in her place, not necessarily by means of force or violence, but by means of psychological methods and belittling, flaunting your knowledge and education in front of her innocent and ignorant eyes that have been denied education, everything. Life. You are the worst kind of human our civilization has produced. Your unproven, broad, and idiotic generalizations keep men of our day satisfied with their idiocy of the same kind as yours, with their generalizations and understandings. You give way to the justification of even more of such with your cursed popularity. You're an ass, unpersuasive and incredibly egotistical to the right minds. You're persuasive to a certain archetype or subcategory of men out there, but to any clear mind who sees you for what you are unpersuasive and deeply pretentious. People are made to believe themselves not smart enough when they don't understand what you're trying to say. It's because you're not trying to say anything. There's nothing behind the guise. It's foolish. Your lines are ramblings of a frustrated, confused, and socially excluded man. You seem to be agitated about something. It's hard to tell clearly what, but my bet is that you have been rejected some forms of intimacy that you so craved. Everything you have to say about religions, I had already figured out on my own before reading you. I would nevertheless give you credit for your analysis and understanding of religion. It might be your biggest accomplishment as a thinker, of your age especially, your period. Nevertheless, it's astonishing how you manage to understand how religion works, its purpose on humans and society, its goals, effects, and end game. And yet, you fail to understand and see and recognize the parallel dynamic of male hegemony. You're either ignorant on purpose or simply have ill intentions. You are a hegemonist. You're stuck in a childish understanding when it comes to your own. You believe your kind to be so unique, so great. You have a fixation about how greater men are than women. You're unable to think outside the framework of Western Europe. And you're also unable to think outside of the framework of the last 2,000 years. You're blind, ignorant. You make do with what you believe to be sufficient information about the world. You're not a true inquirer. When Gromsky first coined the term hegemony, I think he also had you somewhere in his mind, Nietzsche. Not only do you fail to recognize anything outside of your own consciousness, you deem it to be the over or über consciousness. Just because it's hard to interpret and understand your writing, just because it seems complex, doesn't mean that it's deep and profound, like people claim. And this is what I want the populace to understand about you. But they are lazy. They trust the first person that explains you to them. Your unfounded and unexamined solidarity with your kind shows me that you are at the elementary level of thinking when it comes to certain matters. So, that happens to be my thoughts on Nietzsche 3 years ago. Of course, since then I had more interactions with him and read more of him, so some of my thoughts have been changed forever. Well, this is just the beginning. I will talk about many things in this channel, I hope, in the future. And maybe I will talk about how my thoughts on Nietzsche have changed throughout the years. Until then, see you.